It's a Fox 5 special report.
Well, thanks for joining us on fox5ny.com and the Fox Local app. We're following some breaking news right now as New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani is holding a press conference right now. He is responding to a report about a possible position for Mayor Eric Adams in the Trump administration if he drops out of the mayor's race. So let's go ahead and listen in.
This is, however, about an affront to our democracy. An affront to what makes so many of us proud to be Americans, that we choose our own leaders, not that they get to pick themselves, not that they get to be picked by the President of the United States, a same president who detained a 6-year-old girl from a New York City public school system and took her hundreds of miles away, the same president that cut SNAP benefits from the hungry across these 5 boroughs. The same president who will throw millions of New Yorkers off their health insurance is now seeking to undermine the very fabric of this city.
Bullshit.
That is what this news has revealed to us today. And that is what this campaign is fighting. Not simply any other candidate that will be on the ballot, but the notion that New York City is for sale. We know that this city will decide its own future. And we know that it is New Yorkers that we will turn to make that decision in November, not the White House in Washington, D.C. Thank you. We can take any and all questions now.
Mr. Mamdani, you sound angry.
We'll start with NJ, yeah.
I am angry. I'm angry because so often we think of this solely in terms of the dynamics of politics. But the reason that so many New Yorkers are fed up with politics as they know it is because of news like this. Backroom deals, corrupt agreements, all of which serve to increase the sense of disaffection and despair as it pertains to how people feel about politics across this country. And to know that having defeated Andrew Cuomo by 13 points, having won the votes of close to 600,000 New Yorkers, has only been understood by that former government as an invitation to collaborate with Donald Trump. It showcases why New Yorkers are so eager to turn the page on this kind of politics.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah. Which job in the Trump administration?
George Soros, the Nazi war criminal.
You know, I honestly don't have an answer for you. Because so much of this administration and the news surrounding it is absurd. It's the kind that you could not even write into a script. And yet we know that it's no laughing matter. New Yorkers are being priced out of the city that they call home. They are being priced out of the most expensive city in the United States of America. And a Trump administration is an administration that is making it all the harder to live here. And in that moment, for the response of City Hall, for the response of leading candidates for mayor to be thinking about how to work with that administration to prevent the will of New Yorkers, it shows just how disconnected these people are from the crisis at hand for the same people who call the city home.
Mr. Mamdani, even with this happening, go right here, Jeff. Yeah.
Jeff, yeah.
So there'd still be an election. I mean, this is not illegal to drop out of the race. You've called on Mayor Adams to resign and not to run for re-election. So I just don't see, if this is working within the political system if they were to drop out. So what's the issue?
The issue here is the motivation at hand. The issue is a former governor, a Democrat in name, calling the president of this country, having a conversation with the intent of how to stop the Democratic nominee's success in the November election. That is what we have not seen before. We have not seen a president of this country seek to fundamentally alter the nature of a race, all with the intent of preventing the Democratic nominee from succeeding. I have no issue facing Andrew Cuomo one-on-one. That's exactly what he wanted for so many months in the primary, and we gave it to him, defeating him by 13 points. My issue is that in this moment of crisis, in this moment where New Yorkers, many of whom are living in fear either of being priced out or being picked up by masked agents in unmarked cars, that the response from so-called leaders would be to work with that administration to subvert the will of the Democrats of this city.
But you're not worried about the polling that shows Cuomo could beat you in a one-on-one race?
If I was worried about polling, I wouldn't be the Democratic nominee.
All right, we'll go to 1010 and then Josie over here.
Thank you. So even if this is allegedly happening, how confident are you then that you can still defeat Cuomo?
I am just as confident today as I was on primary night. We defeated Andrew Cuomo despite polls showing him winning that race for months. And we didn't defeat him by a small margin. We defeated him with the most votes of any primary winner in New York City history. And we did it because we saw these kinds of actions for what they were. This is why so many New Yorkers stay home. This is why so many New Yorkers look at politics as if it has no relationship to their actual struggles. Because how else to describe the president speaking with the mayor and the former governor about how to make this race the one that they deem the most difficult for me? I don't care about who we will face in November. We'll beat them all. It's the question of how we can actually stand up for this city, and the fact that I'm here talking about other Democrats. I mean, what do these people actually stand for besides power? That's the question that I have for them.
Yeah, Josie.
How are you?
Hi.
What's your message here to Mayor Adams? Do you think he should stay in the race, or do you think he should take the job from that?
I don't think anyone seeking to represent the people of this city should be taking a job with the administration that is making it harder for the people of the city to afford the place that they call home. You know, I've made it clear, as Jeff pointed out close to a year ago, my thoughts as to Eric Adams and this race and the charges that he was facing and what he owed it to New Yorkers. Clearly, that didn't mean much to him then. My issue is the work that is taking place right now in these kinds of conversations, in these kinds of meetings, to subvert the will of Democrats across the city, all in the interests of Donald Trump.
All right, we got Jeff right here. Zohran right here.
Yes, they do.
Do you think there are any sort of ethical issues here? Do you see this as a sort of quid pro quo situation in terms of a potential job offer for the race?
I think there are many ethical issues with this news. We are talking about a mayor who was facing an indictment that was then dropped by this administration to ensure greater collaboration with the immigration directives of this administration, now being considered for a job offer such that he would drop out of a race to represent this city because of the fact that they believe that would increase the odds of anyone being able to defeat me. Those are incredible ethical issues. And none of this has to do with New Yorkers. None of it has to do with the welfare of this city. It all has to do with power. It all has to do with the audacity that we have here to believe that we could pick our own mayor. That we have to believe that the most pressing issues are not how to ensure that Donald Trump continues to have an ambassador in City Hall, but that New Yorkers can actually afford the place that they call home.
Mayor Adams said
All right, well, Katie, go.
Mayor Adams has said he hasn't spoken to Trump, and he denies that he would drop out of the race. Do you believe him, and do you think New Yorkers should believe him?
It is hard to believe Mayor Adams' ever-changing story. We were first told that this trip to Florida was entirely personal. Then it was revealed that it included many meetings of a political nature. To try and keep up with him, it's a fool's errand. And what we've seen in this reporting, in the same context of reporting that showed Andrew Cuomo and Donald Trump having that conversation, is the fact that our so-called leaders of this city and this state care little for the people they are supposed to serve and care more instead about themselves and whether or not they can continue to hold on to power.
All right, we'll go Brian, Fox News, and then New York One.
So you called an emergency press conference today because of the president. You say meddling in this election. But what do you have to say to the fact that there are New Yorkers from all ideologies and every other candidate in this race who says your candidacy is the emergency and the existential threat?
To characterize a campaign that will freeze the rent for 2 million rent-stabilized tenants, make the slowest buses in the country fast and free, and deliver universal child care as an existential threat to this city begs the question of what you think this city is and who you think it's supposed to serve. This is a city that is supposed to be a living, breathing testament to the possibility of working people and their dreams. And yet the idea that we could actually fight for those same working people is such a threat to the way that politics has been, because we see so often who it's supposed to serve, those that already have power. And what we need to do is to ensure that we finally show the relevance of politics in the struggles of working people's lives, not continue to pretend that any of this kind of news is normal.
The president is a New Yorker. Why does it matter if he cares about this city and wants to pick the candidate or endorse a candidate of his choosing?
It's not a question about the president's endorsement. If this was only about the question of who Donald Trump would put his face on their palm card for, I wouldn't be having a press conference with you calling it an emergency. What this is about is Donald Trump seeking to narrow this race with the pure intent of trying to stop our candidacy, and the willingness of Democrats to not only consider this, but to actively engage and pursue this as their political strategy.
All right, we'll go right here, Brian.
On a broader level, though, what do you say to people that are concerned that, you're 33 years old, you've only had a short tenure in Albany, that you say that your platform is separate from the DSA at a national and local level, but you've been a dues-paying member. So what do you say to those people that, might support this going to the highest level, where Donald Trump and maybe Andrew Cuomo are talking about getting you out of the race? Are you concerned that that fear has risen to a level, and do you think you've answered those New Yorkers' questions?
I have not met a single New Yorker that has told me they want Donald Trump to determine the course of this election. What I have heard from New Yorkers is, how will I be able to afford my rent? How will I be able to afford my groceries? How will I be able to afford to keep living in this city? And that is what our politics should be about, answering those questions. And the fact that that isn't even on the mind of these so-called leaders, it showcases why so many New Yorkers look upon politics with disgust. People have asked me, who is my chief opponent in this race? It's not any one of these people. It is despair and disaffection that New Yorkers feel for their politics. We brought out more young people than this city has seen in a mayoral election in recent history. And we did it by speaking about what this city could be, what politics should be. And yet what we are chained down by is what politics is today. And our vision continues to be one that refuses to settle for this, and instead says the greatest city in the world should have a city hall that is looking to protect the people of its city, not to work hand in hand with an administration that is looking to destroy the very fabric of the city.
Right, we have two more that we got to wrap, so we're going to go to Liz and then Morgan, then we have to wrap. Liz, right here.
You're talking about Democrats who are willing to consider Trump meddling in the election, meaning Adams. Is your message also to the Democrats that are on the sidelines, who haven't endorsed Democrats like the governor, like Chuck Schumer, like the Chief Justice? Is this a call to them that they need to coalesce around you for the Democratic nominee?
This is a call to the 8.5 million people who call this city their home. It's a call to each and every New Yorker to understand the stakes of this election. This is an administration that is not content with having had unprecedented influence over the affairs of this city through our current mayor. It's an administration that looks at its detention of a 6-year-old girl, that looks at its cutting of SNAP benefits, that looks at its throwing millions off of their health insurance and says, we want more of this. An administration that has done all of this in the name of the greatest wealth transfer to the Americans who already have more money than they know what to do with. And we know that here in our city, we will determine our own future. We will determine our own leadership. This is a message to New Yorkers as to what is at stake in November. It is the ability for New York City to choose its own fate.
Okay, last question quickly, and then we have to wrap. Morgan, then we're going to go this way.
Do you think Cuomo had a hand in this? Do you think he was working with the Trump administration to get something like this done?
I think Andrew Cuomo has been having conversations with Donald Trump, as was reported in the New York Times, and I think it is a shame that a candidate for mayor has spoken more to Donald Trump than he has to the governor of this state. It shows someone whose understanding of partnership only extends to those Republicans in power, without even a thought to what it could look like to finally deliver for the same constituents that Albany and City Hall represents simultaneously.
What about Democrats?
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you all so much.